has come to share her experience, strength, and hope with us in the specific area of the BDA toolkit and the 12 steps of DA. Welcome, Corey.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Corey, how would you like your time?
5, 5, 4, and 1.
5, 5, 4, and 1. Mindy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And can you shout it out so I can hear it, because I can't really see? Cool. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. I'm Corey. I'm a debtor. I'm a self-debtor. I'm an under-earner. I'm a successful business owner. I am a beautiful child of God. I am here today to share my story with all of you, and hopefully it will bring some experience, strength, and hope to you. I hope I say something that helps someone. I'm grateful to Tom for asking me to speak. This is my first time speaking on this meeting, so I'm a little intimidated speaking on this meeting, as many people say every time they get on this meeting. And anytime I've heard that, I'm like, no, it's easy, it's no big deal. And now that it's my turn, I'm like, oh shit, this is a little nerve-wracking. But yeah, I'll start with a little bit about my history. I'll move into how I got into DA and what my beautiful life is shaping up to look like as a result of my work in DA. I was born in New Orleans, and my parents divorced when I was 5 years old, so I was raised by a single mother. She was a teacher. She was not very wealthy. We actually school was the most important thing, and my mother's money all went to paying for my education, and that was what money went towards. And the rest of the money that we had was a very little amount of money that we used for like groceries and like other things. And I went to a school which had a lot of rich kids, and I was one of the poorer kids. And I didn't necessarily know that I was one of the poorer kids, but when I got old enough to luckily I wore a uniform, so there was no I don't have the right clothes. But when I realized that my friends were shopping at the Gap and I was shopping at off-brand clothing stores, that got really challenging. So I started to learn that I didn't have enough money, and that money went to education, and that was the most important thing. And one of the things that really always sort of was one of the signs that held on to me for the longest, and one of the things that I never wanted to do growing up. When I grew up, I remember thinking so much as a young child. I remember, when I grow up, I don't want to have to go to the store and look at the price tags on things. All I wanted was to be able to go to any store wherever I was and just pick up an item that I wanted, and I didn't have to look at the price tag on it. That was my biggest thing, because everything in my family, everything my mother did, she looked at the price tag and had to can we afford this, and do the math and figure it all out. And it was I just was when I grow up, I'm never going to worry about that. And my father, on the other hand, was a man-child, not paying child support and going out every night and spending money wildly and not caring about any responsibilities. So I had a penny pincher on one side, and then a complete debtor and partier on the other side, and so it gave me these two wildly different experiences of money. One hand, we were saving all the money in the world, and on the other hand, my father and I were spending money going out on lavish dinners when I was at his house on the weekend. And it was so opposite. And it set me up for this weird view of money, that it was either you had it and you had to hoard it, or you had it and you spent it all. So I really had this weird concept of how money worked. And what really stuck with me more was the pauper mentality. That's really what I gravitated towards. I started working when I was about 14. So I started getting my own money. And when I started getting my own money, I started hoarding my own money. I put it all in a savings account. I barely used any of it to get anything. I started at a very young age with a savings account. By the time I was like, you know, 17, I had like $1,000 in my savings account, which was like no one could touch the savings account. Like if it had less than $1,000 in it, I was totally broke. And I never wanted to touch that. Like I wasn't going to be okay if I didn't have money in savings. And that went through my entire life. 5 minutes. Thank you. Um, I, so I was always, I made money, but I never spent money, and I never spent it on myself, and I never spent it on others, which is something that I kind of like. It's a weird thing for me now, is that like I, I kept my money for me, and I kept my money for safety, and I never had the opportunity to give back with my money. And that never really like was part of what money was used for. Um, and so I came to California in 2002. I was working in the industry. I was making good money. I started to I had some debt. I didn't have a tremendous amount of credit card debt or anything. I always paid off my credit card bills as soon as they came due. I used, I had an American Express because I was cool and I wanted to throw down my American Express on the table whenever the bill came due. That's the only reason I had it. I wanted to be fucking cool, and I wanted to be like that, like hot shot with money. And I had money, so I could do that. And at that point, I started to get a little bit out of my pauper, but I still like self-care and money never went together. My self-care looked like free activities that I could do, but I never took care of I wouldn't buy myself anything nice. I never considered taking myself out on a self date and doing something nice for myself. I never got massages or got my nails done. Like I never wanted to take care of myself if it involved money. Money was for necessities, not for fun. And the only time I spent money was going out and having like my father spending money on food and drinks. Like that's what I spent my money on. So I guess that was kind of self-care, but not really self-care. Um, so um, I I left the industry. I had a good job, but it actually was killing my soul. And I was making good money, but I wasn't happy. And so I quit my job and was unemployed for a couple of years, or a year. And I had enough money to live on, and I started my own business. And when I started my own business, that's when I got really started to get the Detting disease started to rear its head. It really started to rear its head for me. And I really started to go back to that fear of money. I've always had this fear of money running out. And it went back to that little girl with a savings account that never wanted that money to run out. And that is, I don't see money as an open system without DA. Money is an open system, I think, and money comes in and money goes out, and money comes in and money goes out. And that's the open system. And I live in such a place of I have an eternal belief that there is not enough for me. That comes from a very young part of me that says, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not deserving of love or attention or anything. Um, but I don't deserve enough money. Um, and started, I came to DA and I sat in the meetings, I went to meetings, and I didn't hear anything that I understood. I was like, I don't understand this. I don't have this issue. I was a producer. I know how to do budgets. I know how to run money. I know how to, I know these things. I knew the tools. Like I was a master of the tools, but I didn't have the faith. So I didn't have a God concept around money. I just had this amorphous feeling around money. So I needed to learn that God was in charge of my money. I needed to learn that, thank you, Albert, I see you. I needed to bring God in. So I left EA because I was smarter than everyone else in the room and I got it and I know what I'm doing and I'm only $3,000 in debt. I'm not like a compulsive spender. And the only thing that did stick out to me was the compulsive pauperness. And I was like, yeah, but like if I earn a little more money, I won't do that again. Like if I have more money, I won't do this. And that belief that I could go in a store and buy whatever I wanted without looking at a price tag was relieved, and I could do that. So I thought all my money problems were solved. Like I thought I didn't have a problem. But as I moved on into running my business, I got more and more and more and more afraid. And I just got more and more and more in my head, thinking that I could control money and thinking that I could control my abundance and thinking that I could control everything. And it was the harder I worked, it was the more I did, and that was going to be the thing that made me more money or made me safe and okay. And the and so I came back to DA. The pressure of not, um, the pressure of the overwhelm that I would wake up with every morning in fear of money was devastating. I would wake up, and I still do, like I still do. There are days when I wake up that I like spring out of bed with like absolute total fear and anxiety about money and fear and anxiety about this is going to run out. Like I am going to die. Like when I am afraid of money, I feel like I'm going to die. And there's no God in that. There's zero God. Like I just completely forget about God. And coming into DA to stay has given me a new perspective on God and my money. And when I came in, I started listening. I sat down. I washed the dishes every week that I was there. I was of service. I did it every week. I paid attention. I started talking to people. I started to become one of many. I stopped looking for the differences and started looking for the similarities. And I started to hear pieces, thank you, of things that I understood and that I was really getting connected to a higher power. And the one good thing that I can say now is that I am connected to God and to the grace of this program. So I'm really grateful for DA because it's taught me to relax. And when I wake up with that fear, I go directly to God. I go directly to God and know that there is abundance here. There is enough for me and there's enough for everyone. That's what I've learned, is that I see people thriving. I see people just going crazy and their careers are amazing and they're receiving abundance and their visions are coming true and my visions are coming true. My visions are out of control right now. I'm like, high five to visions, because visions are incredible. And those are the tools, the practical tools of DA really do make the difference. And I'm so grateful for the things that I pick up in this program that make the difference. And they really, really do. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, Tom, for letting me speak. And congratulations to the newcomers for showing up today. Please stick around. You'll learn something. So thank you for letting me share.